Welcome to the Challenges of Change, the podcast where we explore the transformative journey towards self-improvement and personal growth. I'm your host, Laura, a mindset coach in the health and fitness industry, here to guide you through the hurdles that life throws at you. In each episode, we'll delve into practical strategies and insightful discussions to help you manage stress, regulate your emotions, upgrade your mindset, and ultimately reclaim your sense of worth. I'm thrilled to have you join me on this journey of change, challenges, and self-discovery. And we are back for another episode of the Challenges of Change. And today we have a good one. I just had a really good session with the client. And ironically, the same idea and the same theme was popping up all last night. So we're going to talk about it. And it's a mixture between a challenge so many people experience because it's kind of this distance or unconscious delusion or lack of awareness around like the rules of the game that we're playing. But so much of it has to do with us not having clarity and understanding from ourselves. So here's a few examples. I remember during COVID, my dad ended up having back surgery, and I had to make a decision whether I felt comfortable flying back to Chicago and seeing him before the surgery or not. And in order at that time to fly, you had to put your mask on. That was a rule of the game. If I wanted to fly there versus drive, I had to wear a mask. I ended up wearing a mask and going home and seeing my dad, and thankfully he's perfectly fine. Go Dad. But I didn't fight with the reality that this is kind of what it is. I can buy a plane ticket, but they won't let me on the actual plane unless I put a mask on during that time. And whether I liked that or not doesn't actually matter, because what I wanted was to see my father before his surgery. That was just a rule of the game. Notice that my preference or enjoyment is irrelevant in rules of the game. Example number 2, look at networking. It's not a one and done thing. It's not a give take type thing. It's a relational thing where you get to know people genuinely. You understand them genuinely. So then you can build a community where you lift other people up, they lift other people up. And ironically, when you give someone a referral, that actually increases the likelihood of them giving you a referral. But that's not often how people think of networking. They go in and they tell everyone about what they're doing and they expect to get clients back like it's a transaction. That's not how the rules of the game work. Sometimes it works like that, but more often than not, if someone's looking for something like a personal trainer, a massage therapist, a hairstylist, a carpenter, whatever it might be, they're not going to go to a networking event to find it. They're going to go online, Google it, and find someone that way. So that's the rule of the game. We have to understand the context that we're playing in. So if you're going into a networking experience, investing your time thinking, if I do this, I will get a referral or I will get something, you're going to be disappointed. And you also don't understand the rules of the game. But this is the one that is a more generalized example. But it is the one that so many people do because it is sourced in self-protection, which is, who doesn't like feeling protected? We don't want to do something, be that change jobs or date. Let's say we don't want to date. It's a good one to go with because I don't want to get hurt. But if I don't date, I feel lonely. So notice this whole idea is I'm trying to avoid pain. I don't want to date because I keep getting hurt. But if I don't date, I end up hurting myself and I feel lonely. So notice you're just craving control in that because you don't understand the rules of that game. If you're going to go into the game of dating in love, that means being emotionally exposed. That means being vulnerable. That means being open. It means you are likely, potentially going to get hurt. Love and grief, two sides, same coin. You can't escape pain if you're going to engage in the art of love. That's just not the nature of love in and of itself. I'm not the one who makes the rules. That's just how it works. Think of it, right? Think about your own experience of love real quick. whether it's a friend, a parent, a child, a former relationship, whatever it is there anyone that you've ever had love for that you didn't experience pain with? And that could be pain in they couldn't come and see me when I wanted them to. That could be pain in I lost the friendship, I lost the relationship. Have you ever not experienced pain with it? If you think about it, you'll see you can't escape that. So you what a lot of people choose is I'll protect myself by not dating and deal with loneliness and point to a different problem rather than looking at the whole problem is I don't trust myself to navigate the pain, and I'm not willing to sign the waiver that says dating, love, and pain go hand in hand. So what this is ultimately pointing to is the rules of the game. What is going on? The kind of unconscious culture of that decision. And I often use the example of like a waiver when I'm explaining this to clients because when you sign a waiver to go skydiving, right? You literally are signing like your life away saying like, yeah, if something bad happens, I might die and I won't sue the place. Like you understand you're going in to do something threatening and you might sign that waiver, right? If you sign an NDA, same thing. You are signing away the privileges for you to talk about something. You understand I am signing this and this is what that means. If you think about the different ways that you're engaging with your life, whether it's in a new job, a new relationship, setting new boundaries, whatever it is, if you're really honest with yourself, you've already committed to an unconscious contract in your head, but you don't know what you're consenting to. And more often than not, we resist it when it doesn't go the way we thought it would go or the way we want it to go. It's kind of like I want to have my cake and eat it too. The rules of the game. You can't change the game. When you resist the way things are, it doesn't make things easier. It actually creates internal friction and frustration because things aren't going the way you wish they would, which again is control. And one of my favorite quotes about acceptance, because this is what we're talking about, is that one of the great paradoxes of the human experience is we can't change ourselves or our circumstances until we accept what exists right now. Acceptance is a prerequisite to change. We don't like what we don't like. We just cease to be at war with it. And once the war is over, change can begin. So often people think accepting the rules of the game means you approve of them. Your approval is irrelevant in the rules of the game. It's just the way things are sometimes. That doesn't mean you always have to play by some of the components of them, but energetically speaking, yeah, they're always going to come hand in hand. Mm. Another way that people can kind of understand what acceptance is without making it this whole story of approval, acceptance is the opposite of denial. So when you're resisting the way things are, like trying to date, but not really doing it because you don't want to get hurt, you're actually creating your own pain and you're in denial that you need to accept love and pain go hand in hand. If you accept love and pain go hand in hand, what do you choose to do? Because when you resist the pain, you're trying to say, I can date without having pain. You can't actually date then. Not open heartedly, not in the way that you want some long term relationship. So, where does this start then? Okay, fine. I have this issue where I keep trying to protect myself, whether it's from a job, whether it's saying something I need to say, whether it's dating, it doesn't really matter. I notice that I keep creating these self fulfilling loops. It starts by looking at, or actually, really awareness, noticing when you want something and giving yourself the space to explore that for just like a second. Okay, I want a new job or I want to date. Okay, why? We always worry about wasting our time with stuff. When we aren't clear with ourselves about why we want what we want and what we think it's going to give us, that is actually where we waste our time because we're chasing a fantasy and we're not willing to explore it. So explore the fantasy. Okay, we think we want something. Or is it that we think we should want something because society tells us if you have that thing, then you will be dot, dot, dot. Insert the emotional experience you're craving. What do we think is going to happen if we get the thing we want, the new job, the loving relationship, the boundary? We think we're going to get something: relief, respect, love, status, happiness. On the other side of what we think we want is an expectation of what that will give us, which is part of the reason why we want it. There's this unconscious filter we aren't examining and it attaches to things. And that is actually the thing you want, the unconscious attachment, what I will get if I go after the thing I think I want. That is actually what needs to be explored. And this is the whole thing with your emotions, with your feelings. They aren't clear messages. They are messages that need to be decoded. You have to be a spy to them to understand, well, what are they actually trying to get me to understand? What's actually hidden in this? So let's say, like, what we actually want is the emotional reward of the subject we think we want. So we have to look at what it's going to give us, right? I think I want X. If I get X, it gives me blank. And examine that story because that's the lie. So let me give you a little bit more of a tangible example so it's easier in like livability. Imagine you're tired of like a really toxic work culture. So you want a new job and you're looking, but you're also kind of afraid that you're going to make the wrong decision because you thought you made the right decision with this job. And now you're in this toxic work culture. So you're kind of putting feelers out there, but you're not really making moves. What you think you want is a new job, right? But why? Why do I think I want a new job? Well, because you think if I get a new job, I won't have to deal with the same frustration and stress and the toxicity from work. But what makes the current workplace so toxic? And which components are you actually playing into? So often we think this is just outside things, a new job, a new relationship. But let's be honest. We all know people, whether that's ourselves, friends, family, whoever, where they just need the next job. They just need the next relationship, but the same patterns keep repeating. It's always a toxic work culture. They always have a boss that doesn't listen to them. They always have a husband or a wife that doesn't respect them, whatever it is. If you keep having the same exact issue and you are changing your externals, it's probably an internal problem. We think it's outside, but the truth is, it's both. It's the environment that's showing us what needs to change, but it's also what we're tolerating. Because a lot of times in toxic work cultures, we're afraid to say no because we don't want to lose our jobs. Makes sense. I don't really want to lose a job either. But that fear of saying no, we use as like a wall we can't move. And sometimes we have to realize it's worth saying no and potentially risking the job that I don't freaking want because it's a toxic place. But that unwillingness to say no, that unwillingness to set the boundary is where you're playing into it. And I don't say this to come down on anyone, but the hardest thing when it comes to personal growth to get over these challenges is recognizing when you see that you are part of this, when you have the power, you are the one making the decisions that continue to perpetuate the same problem. It won't make you feel good, but it does not make you a victim. And it does give you your power back. For the moment you realize, okay, I am the one consistently saying yes to not dating because I don't want to get hurt. And that means I'm feeling lonely. You can either choose to pity yourself or blame the dating world or realize like that's because I don't feel like I have the capacity to get hurt right now. And that's okay. So right now I don't like loneliness, but loneliness is better than the pain. Okay. And at a certain point, you're probably gonna have to change that if you really want a relationship. Same thing with work. I want a new job. I want to be respected at work, but I'm unwilling to set boundaries. I'm unwilling to say no. I'm unwilling to go outside my comfort zone. How do I expect this job or the next job or the job after that to ever actually be a place where I can be respected if I don't start respecting myself? It's one of the hardest things I have to coach people through, and it's hard for me to do, but I've seen this time and time again that when you shift it back to understand what is actually happening, the game that is going on underneath the message, that is where the solution lies. That is where your freedom lies, and that is where your agency lies. When you realize that you actually have all the power, that you are making decisions because you are afraid of certain outcomes and you're making assumptions that tell you, I can't do this or I have to do that because you don't know what's on the other side, you trap yourselves. And it's more pertinent than ever that we are aware and challenging our minds so that we can have more agency and we can advocate because we have so much agency and choice and energy and impact in how we create our lives. But we're scared. And it's okay to be scared. But if you let fear continually be the guidance of what makes decisions for you, you can't be surprised when you're regularly dissatisfied because you're letting fear lead. You're not understanding the game that you're playing. You're not looking at the different components. You have to understand that this is the circumstances and they are somewhat to blame, but so am I. So where can I take responsibility? Because that space, that is where our freedom is. So get curious. And honestly, I think the perfect first step for you is right here in the challenger circle. I know that I'm biased to it, but we have been beta testing this for months and we finally just rolled out like a new and improved system that makes it so much easier for you. Like so often I hear executives and CEOs say they want to grow, they want to build a better culture, but they don't have time. So this is a done for you system. This is the I don't have time or space to grow. So we literally spoon feed it for you. Messages that take 1 minute. It's just a pattern interrupt, 1 minute, you answer it, you're back to work. Emails that take maybe 3 minutes of thought. And then you get coaching, but I can tell you all about what you get, but what you actually get, remember what you think you want versus what you actually want. You want the agency and the freedom. You want the possibility. You want the confidence that you can guide yourself through toxic work cultures to the next job, to navigate pain, to get into the right relationship, to set boundaries for yourself. None of it's comfortable, but we have to have our own back. And that's what we're not doing. And that is where the challenger circle comes in. It teaches you how to have your own back when you don't have enough space to learn on your own. So whatever you do, get curious about yourself. Why do I want that thing? What do I think it's going to give me? And if I get that thing, well, why do I even want that thing? Because that story that you tell yourself about the relief you're going to get from the thing you're chasing, that story is where the answers actually lie. If this felt true for you, share it with a friend, drop a comment, heart it. But whatever you do, just do your best to show up for yourself. Until next time, thank you as always for listening. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of The Challenges of Change. If you're ready to stop stressing and reclaim your sense of worth, be sure to visit my website at www.changebychallenge.com. There, you'll find loads of resources, blog posts, and information on how to work with me, Tora, as your personal mindset coach. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. Don't let burnout or any other obstacle hold you back from living your best life. Take the first steps towards positive transformation today. Thank you again for listening. Stay confident, stay inspired, and embrace the challenges of change. Until next time.